losing to Phil and O'Mara at Augusta, and I really had a couple British Opens, but nothing like at Augusta. Mark O'Mara birdied 3 of the last 4 holes to win Augusta. He birdied the 18th. That's some great stuff. Where was I? I was in the fairway bunker, then I was in the right bunker, then I blasted out 4 feet, Mark's down the middle, 20 feet, birdie. So you can't really look at those things. One of the best rounds I ever played was when I played with Phil. If you're listening, Phil, I outplayed him, and I learned a lot at an old age that is really where it's irrelevant. They tell people all the time, look at Phil. When he goes up on the range, he is a winner. This guy just knows how to win. That's why he's so good. Phil, when he plays really well, he's there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That day, I definitely outplayed him, but I didn't outscore him. And the key word in the game of golf is scoring.
Did you know where your power came from?
No, it just, sometimes I would think it's in my hands.
Yeah.
And I tell people I grip the club so loose, and obviously when I take it back, the tension comes in. Then, as you get a little older, it's from your hips and your butt or your glutes or whatever, and, or it's how you torque through the ball. But I always felt like I had great hand-eye coordination, and I could hit a ball off any lie. And I had a lot of weird ones, in the trees, in the brush, buried in bunkers. But that was a thing that always kept me going. So the game part of it was just tricking yourself. How do you get better?
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't like trying to figure out a mental part of it. It was more physical. Mm-hmm. And can I cut the ball more? Can I hook the ball more? Does my swing let me do that? My swing let me put curve on the ball.
The instant he turned 50, Fred Couples became the poster boy for the PGA Tour champions. Not only is he a fan favourite, but he came out of the gates blasting, winning 4 times in his first year. Since then, he's added another 9, including 2 majors.
You were happier than most men when you turned 50, because you kind of got out there and really started a new career on PGA Tour champions.
Yeah, and luckily, I have a good man, Joey. He wanted 1 year, and he told me this in a very polite way, and you're now 18. I'm going to let you go get an apartment and live. And so I won 4 times my first year on the Champions Tour. And I was glad Joe waited. Then he went on to caddies, for Dustin Johnson a little bit, and then Tiger. And now I'm playing with guys I played with my whole lives. I get Bernard Longer, I get Jay Haas, I get David Toms, I get VJ.
Yeah.
I'm leaving guys out, Tom Lehman. So that's who you play with. It's really a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. I don't ever go to a tournament thinking I'm not going to play well or have a shot at winning. If I feel good, I'm going to try and do everything I can to play 2 tournaments in a row where I get a little movement instead of 1 and 3 weeks off and not playing. So my goal is to play. I've said this for 5 or 6 years now. Used to be I want to win the Schwab Cup, but you got to beat Bernhard or McCarron. So you got to play a lot. But I want to play 15 times.
You get to play in a cart if you want to. Do you walk or do you play?
No, I walk.
You walk?
I walk. I did it. I won a tournament where I rode just to be a bad guy. And I parked the cart where my second shot was and walked in. I just wanted to see how bad it... I know this comes wrong because a lot of guys ride, but I'm 59. I don't really care if I fend. I wanted to see how bad it looked to ride a cart around. And I took a cart on, I think, the whole week, but maybe just on Sunday to do it, and Joe couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Because I'd leave it a lot. He'd have to go get it. And you're not allowed to have the clubs and cart on there. But I just did it to be a bad guy, and it probably worked out, but I won.
It doesn't seem right, does it?
Yeah, no. We're good enough to walk. I mean, there are some guys that have problems, and we want them out there. So if one guy rides, they all want to ride, but it doesn't look like golf to me.
What was your best Champions Tour win?
Probably the British Open at Turnberry, because I always wanted to win a British Open. And I felt like the courses were built for my game, or a lot of people's game, but I'm only worried about me. And Turnberry was set up, I'll be honest, we played one hole where the tee wasn't all the way back, and they were on the fronts, but we played it as a real deal, and there was a lot of rough, and I played really, really well, and I felt like that was a huge accomplishment to win a British Senior Open.
Explain to me how Bernhard Langer seems to be better now than he was when I played with him.
He's the most amazing guy on our tour. He's at a lot of tournaments practicing Monday after he wins on a Sunday. He works really hard, and he sets a precedent for everyone to look at. Scott McCarron plays a lot, plays really hard, works on his game. The guy who was surprising to me, now he's on a little bit of a roll, VJ. We have a lot of guys, but Langer is amazing. I can't say enough about him except he's got a great game, and he works harder than anybody.
More FEHERTY will continue after a few words from our sponsor. We've been doing FEHERTY for a while now, but every episode I learn something new from our guests. Just like Farmers Insurance knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two. So, thanks to Farmers for supporting my show.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
All right then, now back to the show.
Let's go to a time when it wasn't so easy. In 2003, you hadn't won for 5 years, but you go to Houston and win by 4, which must have been special in Houston. How'd you do that?
There was a little time in there, I think in 2002, where I was staying with Sam Reeves, and I was really kind of down, so I would have been 42 or 3 years old, still playing pretty well. And Sam had mentioned something, and I said, I don't see Paul much anymore. And he says, Butch Harmon's here. I'd like you to work with Butch today. This is at Pebble Beach. So it's on a Tuesday, and I go to the range, and Butch basically pistol whipped me. Man, this is horrible. I hit so many balls that I couldn't grip the club Wednesday. I hit so many balls on Tuesday, my hands were just, first time maybe in my life, raw. Once in a while I get a cut in my thumb, and it's hard to play, blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting better. And we never hit anything more than, I think I worked my way to a 5-iron. But I must have hit 1,000 balls. Fast forward a little later on in that year, I won at Houston. I got very emotional because, from Sam Reeves, he just looked at me and said, you're better than this. I think Butch is right here. That's who I work. Sam was 70 at the time, probably 70. And I just couldn't believe I won. And I was out there thinking about all the things, and the last 9 holes I beat Calcavecchia, and I never missed a shot. And I thought, wow, how much fun is that? And then I never won again after that on the PGA Tour, but I did get one more.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a sports fan are you?
10.
Yeah? Which sports? Just all of them?
I will watch anything that's intriguing. So if Messi's playing, I'll watch him.
Yeah.
I do like soccer. I played my whole life. I went to every World Series game, every playoff game, the Dodgers, the last 2 years. I do love the Dodgers, and I love sporting events. And we went to LeBron's first home game where the fight broke out. That was weird against Houston. It was all bizarre, but to see the fans there, it was really a neat atmosphere. And so I just found myself just watching LeBron to see what he did, because that's what I enjoy. And when I play with golfers, I watch what they do. It's very weird, but I just try and pay attention to how they mark a ball or how they tee up a ball or do stuff, because I'm standing 4 feet from them, so I might as well pay attention to them.
How big a thrill was it for you to raise the 12th man flag on the Saints-Seahawks game on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, first you're way up on top.
Yeah.
And then they want you to go down these stairs to this glass rail, and it's probably waist high and overlook everyone. That's so not like anything I would ever do, but I got wound up. Guys were telling me they broke a club for me, so when I busted over my knee, it would break. It was already bent and kinked. But it was really fun. And I had season tickets for 3 years to the Seahawks.
Is it true that you would have traded your golf career for, if you could have been the center fielder for the Yankees?
Yes. It's so
Really?
easy to say.
Why center fielder?
Because that's where Mickey Mantle was. And my dad, everything he had was Yankees. My brother, bring him up, was drafted by the Oneonta Yankees. I was forced Yankees. I was 9, 10. I had a batting helmet as a bat boy that had NY on it, which my dad painted on there. So center field just seemed natural. In the Yankees, when I'm 10, I didn't know anything about New York. I didn't know if that's the greatest city in the world to be on a team. I just knew Mickey Mantle. But yeah, I would trade it.
You would have?
I would have, yeah. That sounds, yes.
If you could take a mulligan in life, what would it be?
I wish I had a little better back. Not perfect, but I think I missed a lot of things. Even now, some of it is with Hunter. He's 11, Suzanne's son. You go play basketball. I did one little thing, my shoulder. So, all these little things, if my back was a little stronger, I probably wouldn't be such a wuss. But if I had a mulligan, it would probably be that. I mean, my parents being alive much longer.
Yeah.
But a mulligan on life, I think it's a pretty darn good one. I'm not complaining.
Mulligans in life are presented by Farmers Insurance. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
Being President's Cup captain has really made me really learn to see how a golf ball is hit, because you're with them practice rounds.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times I say this, you're standing behind the tee. So you're looking down the fairway. A lot of times when I'm playing, I'll watch you hit and I'm looking at your belly and the ball goes. But when you stand behind them and they say to their caddy, I'm going to take it down the left side and I'm going to cut it, and that thing goes down the left side and it cuts, and you're standing behind them, it's like magic to me. And I had great times. Dustin Johnson, I just don't know how he doesn't win six times a year, but that guy impressed me more than anybody on any of the teams. Golf has kept a good eye on me. Being on these Ryder Cup teams, being on these President's Cup teams, winning the TPC a couple times, having people look at that. I mean, I don't know how you get in the Hall of Fame, but I'm thrilled that I'm in it. And was I shocked? At the phone call, yeah. I was like, wow.
Was it emotional?
Yeah, it was emotional. I mean, the speech, well, the story of that is Jim Nantz was going to introduce me, and I couldn't think of anyone better. Maybe Paul Marchand, but so he says, give me your speech. He comes in like at 4 o'clock, and the dinner starts at 6, and we're going to go on at 7. So I said, Jim, I've worked on it, but I have it down. No notes, no nothing. It was probably a minute speech, too. I mean, I ripped right through it.
He's a prince.
He looks at me and goes, so that's your Hall of Fame speech? And I went, yeah. And he goes, no way. So then we sit in a corner, and he starts writing this stuff down on these cards. And I went, and I had the cards on the vanity where you brush your teeth, and I had the shower where I was looking through the glass, staring. I had these cards laid out. I had an hour. He gave me a whole new thing. And I'm like, oh my, now I became just this nervous freak job. It's a speech. I'm going to talk about a few people, and if I don't do great, he goes, no, this is what you're going to be remembered by. And so anyhow, he did tell me a lot of things to say, and I got through it.
Did you start off with hello, friends?
I did. I said, hello, friends. Yes, no, I did. To get into the Hall of Fame, I don't look at it as when we're playing, on your name, they have the little logo up there. I don't look at that, and I don't really listen to them when they introduce you. I just know that you're a little punk from Seattle, and you're in the Hall of Fame, and you're talking to all these people, and, there's a lot of cool cats in that thing, and I'm one of them, and it's kind of fun, and it's a neat club to be in.
How long did Joey caddy for you?
I had Joe LaCava for 22 or 23 years.
That's amazing. How would you describe that relationship?
Incredible. There's one thing about Joe that I really hit on. He was very fun-natured and not funny. Like, I don't think I'm funny. But he and I together, we could say stuff and laugh.
Crack each other up?
Yeah. And so when you're on a golf course, the first thing I used to tell him, I need to get to the car. Just leave me alone. Once I got in the car, I could look at him and be nice. I was really mean, nasty to him a lot of times because I wanted to play so well. Not for me, but just to finish off a good round. But once I got in the car, I was fine. Then he dropped me off. I'd say, come get me at 6:30, and we'll go to dinner. The next day, we got up and did it again. We did it for 23 years. So he and Tiger, I can see this mesh. Mm-hmm. Tiger's loves Joe, and Joe loves greatness. And, and I told him the other day, we were texting back and forth, and I said, it was so much fun watching you win in Atlanta. Just to see it. It was a treat. And he goes, well, I won 5 times with him in 1 year. I said, Joe, I know how many times you've won. He goes, but some people forget about that. And I say, well, yeah, but you haven't gotten a major. And then he texted back, yet. That was his final thing, yet. And I thought, that's Joe, because he's a believer. He believes in his guys, and he was a lot of fun to be around.
There was an episode at the World Series at Firestone, I believe it was, where you you and Nick Price, you were a little pissed off with Joe or something.